Upon further questioning, it was revealed that it was actually, in fact, Ipe who was in debt, and told my representatives that I was paying off those debts.
No, pause there for a second, Paulie. I think that is a very key element of this entire story. He came right out and denied any wrongdoing at all, strongly denied any wrongdoing, and said he is the victim of a crime that was committed by his translator, Ipe Mizuhara, who he had nothing to do with any betting. He never bet on any sports, not on baseball. He's never bet on any sports, legally, illegally, never asked anyone to bet on sports for him, and the money was stolen from him. And then I think one of the questions that we had last week, and everybody did, Woods, was, well, how on earth could this get pulled off without some of Shohei's other people? Because he has more than just a translator. He's got managers, agents,
attorneys, criminal defense attorneys in L.A.
How could this be pulled off without
crisis management?
Some of their knowledge? And Shohei is basically saying that when they came to Ipe to ask, hey, this is going on, we need a comment on your involvement with gambling, Ipe essentially told all of his people, like, this is what Shohei says. Shohei says he wanted to pay this off for a friend, and they all just bought what Ipe was saying because he's the translator, and they assumed that that's what Shohei had said. But Shohei says, I never said that to Ipe. He made that up on his own and convinced all my people, including my PR people, who then went in and did an interview with ESPN with Ipe, that these were my wishes, and they were never my wishes. From the start, he was being manipulated and conned by his translator.
Okay, yeah, and I think there's there's part of that I think that is believable, and if you're that much in the hole, you'll do whatever you have to do to get out of it. All right, and that's all fine and good at this point. So I watched the thing. My initial reaction was it doesn't come off well, but the reason that it didn't come off well is because it's lost in translation. That for me was really the only thing. I mean, there was one point where they kind of looked at each other, and it was like watching two people get their stories straight, but doing it out in public. You know what I mean? Like, should I say this, or this? Is this where we right? And so, but again, I don't speak Japanese. I'm just telling you my initial reaction when it all has been come out. So at the very best case for Shohei Ohtani, he is a mark. He's a mark. And perhaps one of the biggest marks in the history of professional sports, right? So that's one thing.
The beef brings up the point that I think we're all asking. How does this happen without red flags popping up? And
well,
I don't think it does.
It doesn't.
The question is, do all the red flags go to Ipe
correct.
first?
Is Ipe the guy that's smacking down the
red flags?
The hedgehog popping up. You know what I mean? Like, bam, bam, bam. Remember that game where they pop up and Ipe's just with the padded thing, just bam, bam, one at a time. Is that possible? Is it feasible?
I think
Wouldn't
it
that be
is
something that would be well known, that he wasn't just the interpreter, he was
money manager,
everything. His PR,
yeah, he was a manager, friend. He was served by much more than just an interpreter.
Sure,
I mean, he became very close, and I think,
and I don't believe that Shohei Ohtani is lying. He's some degenerate gambler.
No, I don't either.
And he's making his buddy take the fall for him. That somebody probably does believe that. I don't. I also don't believe that he just had completely no idea.
In the dark.
Like, nobody noticed anything. The truth lies somewhere in the middle.
Well, and Tijuana
very
Sun
confused
says,
on how to get
like
there.
his accountant didn't know $4.5 million was missing.
They
did. They knew
told
it.
Ipe
They said
about it.
Shohei has wired these $500,000 payments. Ipe, I mean, can you ask him about that? And Ipe would go, "Yeah, Shohei wanted to do that. Shohei said he wanted to pay back something for a friend." It doesn't say. It just said like loan on those payments.
Yeah.
It didn't say paying back Ipe's gambling debts. The accountant may have known that something was going out to someone, but it didn't say it was for Ipe. So why wouldn't they go to Ipe and ask, "Hey, can you ask Shohei what's going on here?" And then Ipe would come back with some story that Shohei did not say and go, "Yeah, no, this is totally approved, and this is what Shohei wants." And maybe there's a lot of people who may have failed Shohei in this case.
I was just going to say, there's a tweet that sums this up for me pretty good. It's in a thread with Craig Calcaterra, who we had on, when was that, yesterday? No, Friday. This guy David tweets, there is no version of events in which Ohtani's management team is not historically incompetent. Either they outright lied or they never bothered to talk to their own client, instead credulously relying on Ippei to provide Ohtani's version of a conflict between Ippei and Ohtani. They're the ones that greenlighted that ESPN interview. They made all sorts of statements without talking to Shohei directly. His own team is the one that said, oh, no, he covered that. His agent allegedly, Nez Balelo, said, no, he was just paying back a debt. That's where it gets a little bit rotten in Denmark for me. But when you go to, well, he doesn't speak English and his translator was the one handling all the phone calls. If I'm trying to head something off at the pass, right, I'm answering the calls, I'm able to do that and protect Ben and Paul from it. Oh, no, everything's fine. No, it's good. Right? And so is that believable? Yeah. And like I said, the best case scenario for Shohei Ohtani is he's the mark. He's a rube. He's a buffoon. He's a fool. And
it's so tough to draw any conclusions right now. But
right.
Do you believe he's just a victim, an innocent victim?
Again, you said it, I think, really well, that the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. I think there are ways to explain this away that make him look completely as a victim. How dim would you have to be, or I guess how self-involved would you have to be for 2 years to not know they've made so much out of how tight these guys were. How dim would you have to be to not realize, oh, my man just put $2 million on Ghana to win a soccer match? You know what I mean? To watch him sweat out games or whatever. Like, that one stuck out to me. But then again, I mean, if you're a degenerate, junkie gambler, you're going to do everything you can to hide it in that case. So if he's guilty of anything right now, he's certainly guilty of being a mark. And but here's what got me yesterday. He made no bones about the fact that he had nothing to do with this. Now, I saw a defense attorney tweet yesterday. This could be the world's biggest defamation lawsuit ever if there is just one tiny shred of evidence that Ohtani, because he is now on record, public record, saying, I knew nothing. That man stole $4.5 million from me. I didn't know about it until he told everybody else.
In conclusion, I do want to make it clear that I never betted on sports or have willfully sent money to the bookmaker. To summarize how I'm feeling right now, I'm just beyond shocked. It's really hard to verbalize how I am feeling at this point. And the season's going to start, so I'm going to obviously let my lawyers handle matters from here on out.
So I don't know when we're going to hear from him again about it.
So the other thing that people have asked a ton is, what kind of bookie would do this? Give him that much money. I mean, again, one that had been apparently lied to by Ippei, saying, "Oh, don't worry, dude. I mean, look to my left. We're good. We got it. Let me throw another $1 million on this game. Shohei's going to have me in the end." So now the interesting thing will be this: what happens when Ippei has his turn with the media now that he's been completely thrown under the bus, backed up over? If, again, there is one shred that, well, actually, he did know what was going on, and we did have a conversation about it, and here's the text, whatever. If there's one piece, now Ohtani is a liar forever who was trying to cover his own ass, and he did so publicly. If he truly did nothing wrong, was completely, there should be no evidence of it. There will be no evidence of it because he didn't know. He didn't do anything wrong. It does take some balls to get up there and say, if there's one little tiny shred out there, I mean, that's not a smart move.
Well, as I said, one of them is pulling off an unbelievable snow job. One way or another. Either Ippei was pulling one off on Shohei and all of his people, or now Ohtani is pulling one off in trying to blame Ippei for everything, when truly there's another explanation about what was going on. And I would think, like you said, Woods, that now that investigators are on it, there's digital trails, paper trails.
Should be easy.
Other witnesses. The truth will come out. The question is, can we be patient enough to wait wait for it all to come out because
Sure,
it's
we
not
don't have a choice.
It's not going to be a day or two. It's
No.
gonna be a while, and then one day there's probably going to be some sort of federal news conference that pops up going, here are the findings that, from the investigation into the gambling ring
With
involving
all of the digital receipts, though, this seems like it should be pretty clear. Like,
Well, the receipts-
eventually we will get
Yeah.
a clear picture of what
I mean,
happened.
the receipts will show that Ohtani sent money to the bookmaker.
Ohtani-
We already know that.
Ohtani needs to.
The question is,
Can he prove that he gave Ipe access to all his accounts? And why would you do that? Why would you do that? Again, he's dim at best. He's a dim mark, and I learned my lesson. I'm not going to trust anyone. And I saw a couple good points yesterday. The man is surrounded by a team that handles all of his business for him. Paulie handles a lot of business for me and us. And there's things I'm completely dim and in the dark about. There's things I forget all the time. I think I'd know.
By the way, you guys owe me $500,000.
Exactly. But there are some things.
Paulie, what's my ATM pin again? I forgot.
There's some things I don't think I would miss, right? There's something I don't think I would miss. It's such a different level, though. It's such a different level. That man has a crisis management team. He has a criminal defense team. He has a social media team. He has a marketing team. He has everything. Not one Japanese-speaking accountant that could say, you know what, Ipe, let me talk to Shohei. This is weird. This is there's 9 transfers of $500K.
I'm not buying it.
We're going to
It's
continue
tough.
this.